Hi, I'm a Bullis Student Tutor, and in this video we will be talking about Python. This is the introduction video where I will introduce the Python Fundamental series. In this part 0, I will talk about what the course will focus on, what you will need for the course, and a brief potential approach to coding. What's in a course, you might ask? Well, in this course I will go over setting up your device to program in Python. I will teach the basics of Python. I will talk about object-oriented programming, and I will create some example programs with you guys, learning with the skills that we've learned along the way. For the sake of this course, I will be using an IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment, called PyCharm. Now, this is a program that lets me write and run Python code, and it does it in a way that handles some of the formatting issues and other things. So I recommend that you find an IDE, and PyCharm might work for you. If you don't want to download an IDE, however, you can use an online compiler, such as Replit. This is free. All you need to do is create an account, and you can do all of your coding online. Additionally, you can use anything else that you can find, so long as it has the capabilities of writing and running Python. But these are the two that I have personally used and can recommend. For those of you who are new to coding, I'll provide a brief explanation of what is actually happening and how to interpret that. Not too specific, but somewhat broadly. Coding is, at its core, writing lines of code that a computer will interpret and act based upon. There are multiple languages of code, such as C#, Java, Python, and many, many more. The differences in these languages are minimal, and the theory of coding is relatively universal. Here's a picture where you can see the code, and it, as you can tell, is nothing like the hacker pictures that they'll put on movies. None of that actually makes any sense. So here's a picture of some real code. But for people who still don't get it, I'm going to try and give you a metaphor that maybe will help you learn. Here is an alien. Now, the alien species happened to have a book that translated English to its language perfectly. However, there's a problem. The alien's language is a lot more precise than English. Where English language might have 5 words for the same concept or meaning, the alien's language only has 1. This alien species is extremely intelligent, and it's extremely responsive, but it doesn't have the ability to interpret anything you say. For example, if you tell it to walk 5 steps, you would first need to specify which direction. Now, the alien assumes absolutely nothing, and it always requires specific details, which means that it follows your instructions to a T. That's the beauty of code, at least in my opinion, because as difficult as it may be to write so precisely at first, it makes sure that nothing can be lost in translation, and it does exactly what you tell it to. The coding that I will teach in this course is not machine learning or AI, so it won't learn from previous experiences, and we'll be doing mostly static coding, but it's a good place to start. Now, the reason that I will teach Python is primarily because it is looser and more natural in regards to syntax than most languages. This is C++, for example, and as you can see, there are some colons, and this is there's some brackets. There's a lot of things going on, and this is a very simple example of C++, and I find that a lot of other languages, not just C++, get kind of convoluted a little bit too easily, and here's Python. I think it reads a little bit more naturally. I think that it's easier to get your head around what is always being asked for. There really are only brackets, parentheses, that's mostly what you'll have to worry about. And especially if you have an IDE, which we talked about earlier, it does a lot of these things for you, and it just feels the most natural as a starting language. Additionally, Python is really good, and it has a lot of online resources, which is one of the most important parts of coding because, no matter how long you're doing it, at some point there's going to be something that you just don't know how to do, and 99% of the time there will be a person who has the exact same problem who has done it before you. And it's really helpful for saving time, and you're obviously learning as you read their solution and their code. So Python is great for finding online resources, which is another reason that I chose Python for this course. I apologize. This was part 0 to the Introduction to Python series. I hope you all learned something here today. Make sure to have an IDE downloaded, installed, and ready for the next part. This was BST, and I hope to see you again very soon.